One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. Hello, everybody. I'm Everstall.
And I'm Michael Rusnak, and welcome to Big Apple Mountain Tarot, and that's Sadie.
That's Sadie, our puppy, who's helping us with this video, which is about...
It's about the full moon lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus. We're in the season of Scorpio. The eclipse, the full moon, is going to be in the sign of Taurus.
Yes, because the moon is in Taurus.
That's right.
Right. Now we're getting very serious here.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Scorpio, Taurus.
We're talking about the Scorpio-Taurus axis, but we're looking at the full moon on November 8th, which happens to be a full blood moon.
Yes, and it's election day.
And it's a lunar eclipse in the sign of Taurus.
Yes.
Now, the last moon, the new moon on the 25th, was in the sign of Scorpio. That had us focusing on issues around toxicity in processing poison, the things we take in. But also what I didn't mention was that it was about perhaps resurrecting old relationships that we have written off as dead, and finding a new mode to operate in with these people from the past. So
interesting.
Scorpio is the symbol is also the phoenix, so that's resurrection and rebirth. And Scorpio is a sign that represents the others and the group. So now with this lunar eclipse, we're thinking more in terms of personal values, and simplification, and getting back to the earth. Right?
Got it. So I understand what you're talking about right there. It's almost like it's not just the persons, but maybe the archetype. That you can revisit and find peace with that archetype in this point. Those things that were kind of like a distress, and you can kind of move through it and find how to digest it, take the nutrients out, and expel the waste.
And take the best of what you could find.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Because we're talking like Taurus is the throat, and it's like how you input stuff, how you digest what you eat, how you nourish yourself, and then Scorpio is the sexual and the excrement, the reproductive and the expel.
So at the time of this eclipse,
yes, sir,
we're going to have the sun at 16 degrees in Scorpio. Conjunct with Mercury. Mercury is 15 degrees in Scorpio, and Venus is 20 degrees in Scorpio. And this to me spells, well, Mercury represents secrets, when it's in Scorpio.
Right, it's information, it's communication. So if it's in Scorpio, it's kind of hidden information.
Exactly.
Secrets.
And Venus is finding the beauty in digestion and expelling and processing.
But Venus also rules Taurus, so there's this opposition. So Venus, I think, is really kind of highlighted in this conjunction.
There's beauty in transformation, beauty in transmogrification, right? And then Uranus is conjunct with the moon at 16 degrees. So this is a great amount of surprise. And this is also an eclipse that's really laden with fixed energy, because we have 6 planets in fixed signs.
What are the fixed signs?
The fixed signs are
Scorpio,
Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo. That's
right.
You and I. And my parents and your sister.
I know, it's very funny. So we've got Saturn in Aquarius, and then the North nodes and the eclipse is happening in the Scorpio. Taurus.
Yeah, that's right. And we're also still with our Saturn conjunction. The Saturn square in Aquarius.
Right, which has been the theme of like the past couple years. That's right. And we're at the end of it, and it's gonna break.
This is the completion of a cycle.
Right.
And now that we're on the other side of Halloween, I just want to say that the Halloween, the Samhain energy is still with us, and we're just after the Day of the Dead.
Right.
And somewhere in the last couple weeks, between the new moon and now, I think everyone has thought, very deeply, very personally about their own mortality. It's impossible not to do it this time.
Right.
Year when you see everything dying outside, and then the veil between worlds is at its thinnest too. So it's really easy to get messages from the other side and to hear downloads from people who have passed away and to really honor their memories.
Yeah, and I've been having a lot of weird dreams.
I've been having very scary dreams.
Yeah.
Scary dreams. And we love horror movies.
I love horror. My God, I love horror movies. I love a nightmare, too.
Yeah, we do love horror movies. I mean, a lot of horror movies are often veiled as comedies.
Right.
Like we can watch, heads exploding and just laugh at it. But there's always that personal fear, right? That hidden fear. And that's what Scorpio season is about. It's about fear transforming us.
Right. That release.
That release. Because you could only escape from your fears for so long.
Right.
But eventually it causes a pile up in us.
Right.
And it just crushes our resolve into like a diamond. And then we take action. Then we transform like the phoenix.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that really pressurized square from Saturn all this time and that tension of Uranus, it's as if like there's like that real pressure, and here we have this eclipse about toxicity, and so like pressure and like kind of squeezing out whether you like it or not.
The breaking down to break through.
Yeah.
It will happen. It's inevitable. I'm sorry, it's true, girl.
It's true, Sadie.
You have to break down in order to break through.
That was well timed.
And it could also herald a lot of seismic activity, all this fixed energy. It's like this real pressure cooker that's building. And of course, in Hawaii, we have Mauna Loa about to, maybe not erupt, but it's rumbling. It's rumbling. Yeah.
We're not going to predict earthquakes or weather, financial things,
or
but
any political. It's just too much.
But there's pressure on the Earth itself as well as the humans that are occupying.
There's pressure to find absolute truth,
right,
and to establish values. And then you look at what's gone on in the UK recently, and in Israel now. Netanyahu's
what the
back.
heck?
And Brazil,
what?
With
I know.
Bolsonaro and our election day coming up. Yeah, it's a lot.
It's this tension of expansion, contraction of Uranus and Saturn. Between these two, great powers, one of them's gonna win. I kind of think it's gonna be Uranus.
It will, because Uranus represents the future and the truth.
And Uranus is in the North Node.
That's our collective destiny.
During this eclipse.
So we are going there whether we like it or not. And this is just happening at the end of a long cycle, this long struggle between the old and the new.
Yes.
With Saturn in Aquarius in the middle, hinging here.
Yeah, as a new epoch is being born. Like what were you saying last video about building the house while you're
taking it apart?
Renovating the house.
Renovating while you're still in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not a complete collapse. You're putting up new structures as you're taking down what's no longer serving. And Pluto will make a great job at that, at taking apart what's no longer serving us. If it's not in the best interest of the collective, it's going to go.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of, I think this is also more of a social, societal moon with Uranus in there, as opposed to personal, and like the really kind of the big moments I think are going to be in society and kind of in our world around us. So I'm very excited. Perhaps things will simmer.
They will, especially after the middle of this month, when our quick moving planets, when Venus and Mercury start moving into Sagittarius, followed by the Sun on the 21st. Once we get into Sagittarius, the energy will change again.
Well, I have a thought about Sagittarius and kind of higher learning.
Can I hear it?
Well, I would love to tell you about it, but like, okay, so you need to have kind of like the foundations figured out to do higher learning. So the digestion, just kind of feeding yourself and being, if you're in flight mode,
parsing out truth and dreams and fiction and right.
There's got to be like a little bit of a settlement to.
There has to be an establishment about what is real.
Yeah.
Right. And what is good for us.
Right.
And what we can tolerate and what we can no longer tolerate.
Right.
And often we play with ideas of changing, but change is so uncomfortable that we just kick the idea around in our heads for a long time. And then finally, there is the absolute sickness of just living with the fear of not changing. And then it just becomes easier to change like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So let's go to the ephemeris a little. Let's take a little spin around the board. So here we have the sun in 16 degrees in Scorpio, and it's opposed to the moon. And Uranus, and that's going to spell surprise, transformation, and lightning fast. The other opposition we have is Lilith.
Yes.
23 degrees Cancer, and that is opposed to Scorpio in Capricorn. This is our feeling of how could we possibly operate in a world where governments are corrupt and systems are failing, and how is it possible that we could live and feel secure?
Right.
You know,
with this
Cancer.
This Pluto like energy there that's kind of grinding through, and is in the last degrees.
It's a feeling of being
Capricorn.
Convinced that it's impossible.
Right.
Know?
But it's not.
But it's not.
It's just weather. It's just emotional weather.
Yeah.
But that Lilith in Cancer, oh boy.
Yeah. And then here we have Mars.
Mars retrograde.
Mars retrograde in the sign of Gemini, and it's squaring Jupiter and Neptune. Jupiter and Neptune are once again conjunct in the sign of Pisces. And if you remember when Jupiter moved from Aries suddenly into Pisces, it was like that was Jennifer Beals like pulling the rope on Flashdance. And instead of water coming down, it was like Jello covering us.
Jello, but you're also in Jello.
Yeah. We're in Jello.
Yeah. But Mars, very empathetic.
Mars squaring Jupiter and Neptune conjunct is not great for seeing and understanding the situation clearly, but it is great for inspiration and creativity and creating new spiritual practices.
Right.
So use that Martian energy for that. You know, go with the heart again.
Go with the heart, always with heart.
Okay, the other aspect that I wanted to mention was that Mars retrograde is also in conjunction with Pluto in Capricorn. All right, and Pluto is the planet of Scorpio. And so is Mars.
Yeah.
They're in conjunction. It's warlike. Pluto rules plutonium.
Got it. So there's our threat. There's our nuclear threat.
Yes, and we don't even need to feed that fear back into the collective.
No.
We just want to mention it and say that this Mars and Pluto in conjunction could spell election day messiness and just fog and confusion.
Right.
And we will see, but try not to respond to the chaos.
Exactly.
Try to focus on the trine action that we have. And
the futurism.
And we have a great water trine between Jupiter and Neptune and the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in Scorpio water, and up to Lilith too. So try to go with that. And also, Mars is trining to Saturn in your Aquarius.
Yeah, I think that water trine's really, like what you were saying over the past few videos about empathy and about growing empathy within this really tight, compacted space we're in. That's one of the things that is developing within us since the spring, is this really intense, although murky and kind of confusing, but perhaps we're all kind of getting a little bit tuned in with each other. And maybe, dare I say that having a nuclear threat and a plutonium kind of energy inside of this south node,
that's one way to make lemonade,
is, you know, a way of kind of maybe we can end or we can develop a discussion about ending nuclear war.
Armament,
and stop talking about the Armageddon that isn't going to happen, which is an idle threat.
Stop engaging with the drumbeat of that inevitable, you know, there's that
mid-century...
That fear of the other.
Bingo.
All I have to say is, divided we fall.
Yes.
The fear of the other, do not buy into it.
Right.
Right?
Go for that Uranian collective we together.
And find your own values. Find security in your own values.
Yes.
Since we're looking at a Taurus moon, make it simple.
Yes.
Bring it back to simplicity. Bring it back to a connection to the earth.
Yeah.
And find peace in serenity and nature. If you can, it would be great to do that now.
Yeah, that I think that Taurus Scorpio stuff is very kind of like, it's so basic. It's like, infant. It's like how we eat and how we digest.
Yeah.
It's this really infantile kind of space, and
it's very fundamental.
We need to get over it to get into the higher education that Sagittarius will bring us. I'm so excited for Sagittarius season.
Yeah, we're done with the water sign.
We're so done with the water sign.
And having said that, let's go to the cards for some inspiration.
Yeah. So last video we did 2 videos just as an experiment. We did a separate tarot video and an astrology video. We're just going to keep it one video to make things cleaner for us. And I was thinking, how do you want to do? Do you want to do all signs for the elements, or what do you think, Mike?
Let's just do a couple cards for the elements.
Okay. 2 cards for the elements?
Yeah, let's try that again, because that seemed to work out really
I
well.
like that. Okay. So we'll give you 2 cards for the north-south node for each element. We're going to start with fire.
Read them as you like, too.
Mike. Yeah.
This is for Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. I'm cutting the deck here.
Cool.
You pull them.
Okay, fire.
For Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius.
Okay.
It's a lot of,
Huh. All right, so we have swift movement, and then we have, these are cups, this is emotional, but you're walking away of something.
Yeah. This could just be, look at all the energy, all the passion that I poured into these endeavors in my life, and it's brought me, what?
Right.
Like maybe it's a reevaluation of how we use our fire energy.
Right.
And then where it gets us. Because often we're fighting ourselves. And we're just...
And what do you do when you get to the goal? Emotionally, like where do you go when you get to the point of the goal?
Or is the joy in the process?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Fire. Okay.
It's fire. Now we have Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn.
Earth. Okay, we got the King of Wands. Interesting. Okay, so we got the King of Wands, and then we have a decision being made. So we have
or an indecision.
Indecision being made. A crossroads. Now, Taurus has got this eclipse happening with them, and so there's like, where are you gonna go?
There's just that fixed energy tension, that digging in, and saying it's uncomfortable for me to stay on my ground. But I really don't know any other way right now.
And kind of like new passion, mastery of new passion, the kingship of this like fiery energy, and where are you going to put it?
There's, thinking and being blessed with new ideas, but then there's the actual stepping into the future and working with that. Yeah. They're there.
Okay. Now, air. We have Gemini, and we have
Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. Turn your perspective upside down
for a new surprise,
and you'll be given a great surprise. Right?
A surprise message. Okay, so we laugh because this is really funny. We have
and they're very cerebral. The air signs are very cerebral.
Very cerebral.
Thinking.
So much thinking.
But you have an emotional surprise coming up.
Like, oops. And you have to kind of change your perspective here and be in a passive state.
To take a step towards something that you have decided that is not for you. It's not in your interest. You never close down avenues of thought. You have to always revisit them, because maybe it's right for you this time around.
Yes. Okay.
Then Cancer,
water,
Scorpio. and Pisces.
Whoa. All right.
Okay, this is a very clear. This card is it's the trappings of nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
It's maybe longing for a sweeter time, a simpler time. But you get caught in that sand trap of looking for the good old days. You know, the good old days when things were simpler and life was different. You know how
okay, I'm going to say something. We're in a new era. Your past can be a trap. I have a really strong water kind of Cancer ascendant, and I have to just see things through memory, you know, in history. And memory is a big tool that I use in my understanding of the world. But I can get trapped in old dead realities here, where these two figures are chained to the devil, but you can just lift the chains off. It's a willing contract
if you choose.
As are like the stories that we tell ourselves about sentimental kind of naive things.
Yeah, the stories that we tell ourselves in order to survive, as Joan Didion says.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, Joan Didion.
Oh, Joan.
Joan Didion. Wise. Glamorous.
So here's our message from the cards about the eclipse.
Yes.
For the signs, and just go with simplicity. Don't engage with the chaos. Don't respond to it too much. Go out in nature.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, things are
It will be great. It will.
It will.
And especially with Mars and Gemini until March. There's a lot.
Right. But this is coming to an end. This is a crescendo, and we're moving on to a new place with Sagittarius, and it's going to feel much better at the end of the month. Yeah. Thank you for visiting us, liking, sharing.
Thank you to all the subscribers.
Oh my God!
Too.
Thank you so many new subscribers, so many great comments. We really appreciate it.
Makes us so happy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Goodbye.